amazing. So I changed it a little, but not a whole lot. And I wanted something that I could send to someone that I didn't really know.
Right.
And that could just talk a little bit about what do I do? And I just loved that. That was exactly what I was looking for. So
yeah, no,
I didn't send that when I made my own, but I used a lot of your stuff.
It's good. We all do the same thing. I mean, it's just a way to present it that it's a little bit more like particular, but that I created that, I think a couple of years ago. It was pre-COVID for sure, but I changed it so many times already.
Yeah.
Changing all that. So and that's what I've been telling, like those things are just alive because they kind of grow with you. So my first one had something that said that I would price match if they found something.
You took that out.
I took that out. I was like, no, we're not doing that anymore. So it's
yeah,
like,
right. Let's not put that up front and center.
yeah, exactly. So like now I say, well, I'm gonna like trust your respect your budget or like find you a good deal, which doesn't really mean that I'm going to be like going around like crazy person trying to save you cents. So
no, I think that you worded it well. And I just was looking for that exact sort of thing. And I was like, I know she did something like that. And I found it and did my own thing, but it's very similar. And then I thought, I'll just send it to this one client and I'll ask her.
Yeah, no, for sure. So Pam is saying about that's on Canva, I think, for you guys, or it's on the Google Share, the G Drive. But it's something that I send to my clients when they contact me for their first time and they've never worked with me before. So I created this little blurb image, like something with text that just say how it is to work with me. So when they file my form on my website, or if someone contacts me saying like, oh, like XYZ, send me your email, like your email for, and I'm looking for a trip. That's what I send them first, like how it is to work with me. It says that I don't charge any fees, but I trust them to work with me to find
I particularly like that.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking
nice
about. I know, yeah, Steph was asking about that. So that's what it is, Steph. It's on the Google Share, and
trying to figure out how to get into that again.
yeah. So just check it out because it's something. So that's pretty much what we're gonna do today. The idea is for us to just open that experience of the client with us and recognize some things that we can do or create content, things that we can say and do to kind of like make it a little easier for the client to understand what it is that we do. Half education, half marketing, a lot of closing. That's pretty much it. Awesome. We still have some people coming in. Are you guys seeing my screen? Okay, perfect. We're going to do something different today. So I'm like trying to, I hope it all works out, but I'm so glad you guys are really good. I need to say thank you to that. So thank you for hanging in there with us on the growing pains of the Prosper Circle and trying to figure out all the technology behind it and what's the best way to do stuff. I'm not sure if Chad will be able to make it today because he texted me saying that something came up, but we are aligning the recording of the videos so you guys can have access to that just a few days after the real meeting. So maybe Thursday or Friday, you would have access to that. It will be on tap under a specific page that you're going to have to access with a password. So I'm going to share all of that with you as soon as we have it ready, and it's almost ready. So just hang in there a little bit longer with me. We're trying to make it like easier on everyone, but also protect the content that we are creating here. So not everyone has access to it because you guys are participating and investing money and time to make this work. So we're trying to be respectful of that as well. Okay, so I think we have everyone that was on the waiting list, and we do have a couple of people missing. They texted me saying that, oh gosh, all sorts of things happened, not good, but they're gonna catch up a little later when they can. Okay, so we are meeting 5. We're getting there. We have 8 in total, so we're getting there. We're excited. So meeting 5, we're still talking about our message. Just a recap of what we've done so far. All of that, like I'd like to go over that like every meeting we have, just to keep us on track. But today's meeting 5, we're doing the customer journey and recognizing the magic moments that we have to kind of engage and do better with the client, like give them really reasons to trust us and to give their business, like to trust us with their trip. So we're doing that today. And then next week and the following one, we are creating content. I know we have been doing a little bit of that already, but the idea here is to just use the meetings to get together and create the content. I will be on the meeting 6, but meeting 7 most likely will be Chad leading, because I will be in Europe leading a group on a river cruise. So I probably will be on the meeting, but I don't want to be like, I'm going to lead, because I'm not sure how the Wi-Fi will be and all of that. I have 6 hours ahead of me. So I will try to be there, but I'm already aligning with Chad for him to kind of lead you guys through that meeting. And then we get together again on the 13th to kind of review everything that we've done. And I'm pretty sure we're still going to be doing what we've learned here for a big while, probably the whole next year, just doing that. Okay, so last week we had a homework, which was the 15 reasons why me. And that's how it would look like. I know some of you had some issues with the technology, with Canva. I posted in there, but I think it's worth telling it here again. If you guys are having any issues with Canva, and I know Canva does that with me too, it's not something you are doing wrong. It might be Canva doing wrong, but sometimes it just logged us out and it doesn't save or kick us out, basically. So try to reload it. Usually for me, it saves like very close to when it stopped working, so I don't lose a lot of things. But if you're like just losing a lot of time with that, I don't want you guys losing a lot of your time trying to figure that out. Like the important thing is to do the exercise and create the content. So don't be too attached to the framework that is in there. Just do it on your notebook, on create a new page Canva. I know Mary, usually she sends something a little different because she already has like Canva set up with her colors. And so she said, well, it's easier for me to just create a new document and just put the information in there. So do that. Okay. Do whatever you have to do. Don't lose a lot of time to like try to fill in all the box. This is yours. It's not for me, not for everyone else. So just make it work for you. Very good. Okay, what else do we have? So homework is there. If you haven't done it yet, there's still time to post it. I know some people are still posting the map, the difference map that we did last week. Well, the week previous that, it's okay. Like it doesn't matter how far behind you are or how ahead of time you are. Just make sure that you're doing the homework, creating the content, because the idea really is to just set some time aside to think about your business more strategically and be able to direct it to where you want it to go. Okay, so now we're going to start to have fun. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but this is what I brought on the Pro series when we were first launching the Prosper Circle, and it's the client experience. So the take is that the client experience is a lot bigger than just the trip itself, right? It starts with the first contact that the client does with us. So then we have 3 different phases: researching, working with a travel agent, and traveling. So if we get that and we open a little bit more, we're gonna get this. So it starts to have more points of contact inside of it, right? So the idea is for us to realize that during the researching phase, there might be 5, 6, 2, it depends from client to client, how many contacts I have with them, it changes. But the idea is that I do have a lot of contacts, with points of contact with them during that phase. Then when we move on to the actually, I'm working with the TA, I'm working with you on my trip, now I'm building trust and developing a relationship, I have more points of contact. And then once we go into like, I'm already, I booked the trip, I'm traveling and I'm coming back. Now I have other points of contact, right? So now we're taking this and we're stretching it a little further, and I'm gonna need your help to do that. So I'm gonna open the whiteboard for Zoom. And we are starting playing with client contacts you. So I want you guys to all unmute yourself. This is going to be a little crazy. We can all talk on top of each other. This is how a brainstorm session works. We're just gonna like throw it out there, okay? And we're gonna try to make sense of it. So let's see how it goes. I will do, let me open the whiteboard so we can do that. Share whiteboard. Okay, can you guys see that? Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So my phone is ringing. Okay. Let's put this over there. I'm reorganizing my screen here, just a moment. Okay, now, so we're starting with a contact. Put the chat over there. Okay, format. So you guys are seeing a big white screen?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. Text. First contact. Okay. First contact. Why do you guys think it comes before that first contact?
Well, they have to have heard of me somewhere, like a referral, or they found me on Facebook or Google.
Perfect. Okay, let's do that.
I would call that discovery.
Yeah.
Ooh, fancy, Alex.
Well, I'm trying to think of, referral is one way they discover you. Google ad is another way they discover you. They found your business card on the ground. I don't know.
Okay. Finding me. Okay.
Bathroom stall, we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
And
so
travel books. Okay.
referral. What else? What are other ways that they can find us?
Google.
Google, yeah.
Okay.
Local
Facebook.
group.
Yeah.
Music and social media.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Mhm.
Kind of like a presentation or talk you do.
Mhm.
From a
Mhm.
networking group. Yeah.
Okay, what else?
When I first started,
If
I
we had
did
given
vendor
them a
shows.
card, business card.
Business card. Someone said trade shows.
Yeah, the trade shows, any kind of like the bridal shows, whatever you guys
Okay.
does.
Mhm.
Chamber of Commerce and other
Networking group.
Yeah,
Networking groups.
Those
Word
people
of
that have
mouth.
their car wrapped, that type of marketing.
Print advertising.
Yeah, let's put our advertise, like, I don't know.
Advertising covers a lot of things, so that would probably be good.
Yeah, generic advertising. Okay. What else? Are we missing something?
Just a conversation you have. You know,
Yeah.
you're at a friend's house for dinner and it comes up.
Yes, I saw that river cruise last week like that. Like I never saw the person in my life. We were just talking about it. And it's just like, yeah, I want to go. And she bought it. So, okay.
Oh, wow.
Travel leaders.
Mhm.
I'm really lucky with email.
Email.
Like, what do you mean by email? Like email marketing or?
Email marketing,
It's just
for
moving.
sure.
What
Alex, are
data?
you sending those to people you know, or is this like a
Yeah.
Or
sort of
something like your
blast?
email list.
So my email list, and I'm using a couple of different things, but we do manage that it only goes out like once or twice a week. So I've used OAs and TLN. But what's funny is I'll send out something on, say, a Princess cruise, and then I get a reply and asking for, a river cruise or a
completely
Disney
off,
cruise
yeah.
or something.
Right.
It's just the fact that they see it makes them think about me.
Right,
Hmm.
keep them top of mind. They keep you
Mind.
top of mind that way.
Interesting. Okay.
And for those of you who've done it, how many of you have done something like a Christmas card end of year type thing? And did that do anything for you? Because we're looking at that now.
I send out thank you or Thanksgiving cards.
I just.
'Cause
did
I feel
that.
like, I feel like it gets ahead of some of the holiday craziness. And I just put something in there about, reach out before it gets really busy if you're looking to do something for next year. And I did put a little recap of some of the group, like the Travel With Me groups that I'm doing. So it usually, again, like the other example of you sending out emails that's about something different, but it just keeps you on the top of their mind.
Gotcha.
Right. I
agree.
sent Christmas card, but I can't like pinpoint like one certain thing that it has done for me. But it was just the top of mind thought. I really like the Thanksgiving. I like getting kind of in front of everybody's Christmas card, but that was a great idea, Jennifer. I think that's
Well,
insane.
I can't take credit for it. Someone else told me about it, but it is, it shows that you're thankful for their business too.
Right.
It's kind of tied into that.
I do Happy New Year, so I don't have that time constraint because I can send that from November through the end of January, really.
Yeah, give yourself more of a time frame.
Uh-huh.
That's smart, Steph.
Always thinking. What it is another one of those personal consumer or client touch points. So
Right.
to me, it's important. I can't say, oh, I sent it and somebody booked us, but it's just part of doing business, really. Just one of those touch points.
Yeah, and I made it. I
Oh,
made it in like Shutterfly, and it was like really inexpensive. And then I think I did a holiday card, and I did, tried to make something fun with my logo. I think I put a Santa hat on my logo or something, and then did some other
That's
stuff.
cute.
Oh, that's cute.
That's cute, yeah.
That's nice. Perfect. Okay. Are we missing something else?
Are we considering networking under trade shows? Because I do a lot of.
No, I think it's a different thing. I think it's a different thing.
Yeah.
That would be like memberships.
Like Chamber of Commerce,
Yeah.
social network,
Right.
wine group.
Like a BSN.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
And
That would fall under conversation too. 'Cause
Well, true, but networking seems a little bit more
Correct.
yeah, I'm like in charge of it. Like I'm actually going there to share my business, whether conversations can be just like I'm at a friend's house, like you mentioned.
Well, and also in the directory, it would have your business name and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm going to share.
From the website contact.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Well,
My
Alex?
computer, a microphone is not working, so I put it on my phone.
No, it's working.
Okay.
Alex, were you saying something?
Well, on networking, I want to give you guys a different thought, because this has generated more business for me than anything else. I actually reached out to some local business leaders that are, they're really, really done well, and I reached out with hey, I'm growing my business. You're successful. Can we talk? Can I buy you a cup of coffee kind of thing?
Mhm.
And very few times do we talk about business. Instead, we talk about travel. And one particular client, he's become a raving fan. Not only has he traveled with me a couple of times, he's referring me to people all the time, and he's going to put me in front of other business leaders to do the same thing. So sometimes networking is actually one-on-one, but I'm coming with a different approach of, hey, I'm just trying to grow my business. How do you become successful?
Gotcha. I like it. I like
Yeah,
that.
it makes sense.
Has anyone tried any, like, I think it's called Alignable? Is
Yeah.
that the name of?
I have.
So there's kind of like the, for those of you that haven't seen it, I feel like we probably all have seen it. It's basically an online referral website. Is that the best way to describe it? I set it up, but I haven't really done much with it.
Yeah, I'm there. It just seems to me particularly that everyone is trying to get something for themselves instead of being the opposite, like, how can I help you? So it just feels like, like everyone that I get connection with are just like hoping me to refer them. And we all know like that even network, when you go like to any type of networking out there, it's really based on the relationship that we build with people, right? So it's very like the network that really helps or works is the one where I like say, like, I have a personal connection with the person, and then we kind of like help each other out, or like things like that. I feel like if everybody goes in just wanting to taking something out of it, a lot of like, we're mostly not taking anything out of it. So that's how Align is for me right now. It might have worked for someone else. Does anyone else uses it?
I haven't used Alignable, but I have done like local networking in my area, like a women's networking club and things like that. And they've always turned out great results. I'm sorry if I'm screaming. I'm in New York City, walking the street with my daughter and her friends. But so I've had a lot of luck with like networking groups where you meet with like-minded people that are also trying to grow their business, and you refer each other. So whenever like my local realtor thinks of, or somebody talks about travel, they always think of me, as well as I always think of them. So that's done really well for me.
Right. Perfect.
I'm in a women's networking group as well, and I've done very well with it as well. Same type of thing.
Good to hear, because I just joined.
I'll mention, my first year back, a few years ago, I joined BNI, Business Network, working international. I think I mentioned it before. It was me a base. I couldn't do it after a year because I traveled too much, and you do have to make that weekly commitment. But I can almost trace all my almost 50% of my business back to BNI, either from a referral or from somebody in the group.
Yeah, I'm BNI as well. And it just, the referrals are deep now. Referrals upon referrals upon referrals.
Yeah. If you get a good chapter,
if you get a good chapter,
but it's worth it.
But even if you find that you're not in the best chapter, so one of the things I was talking to someone today about is, visiting other chapters, and they were really encouraging me because if they don't have a travel agent in their chapter,
Not many of them do.
And not
we
many of them
travel so
do
much.
because travel agents are too busy.
Right. Yeah. That's what I said to them when I joined. I was like, what if I'm missing like 2 meetings a month because I'm zipping?
I know. The thing is, when I started, I thought, well, I won't do it for a long time because as soon as I get busy, but now I feel like I really don't want to quit because I get so much business from them.
Yeah.
And plus I have relationships with them all. So it's, I always have a good time when I go, even though it is a thing, it's every week.
Right.
I substitute my old group and then also the local groups. I haven't in a while because I've been so busy, but substituting is a good way to get your foot in the door too.
Yes, it is. Yep. Visiting.
Perfect.
It's great.
Okay, so finding me, are you guys seeing the Canva now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm switching from the Zoom because it was very limited. I was trying to do something, it didn't allow me, so we're doing Canva. And the good thing is that it will be there already for us to check it out later. Okay, so we have first contact, then we have, finding me before the first contact. Do we have anything before the finding me?
They're making the decision that they need to travel somewhere.
Yes, I do think so.
Our reputation?
Well, yes. Well, before finding you, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, but I think finding, let's put this then. So finding you, there's what, like a finding the need of a TA in there, right? And then it can go after you. But I do think that before finding you, so let's do that. I think it's worth it to put it in here. So finding me and then finding a TA. Because they're different things.
Right.
So first I need a TA and then I need, okay. Where are we going? Okay. So before I need a TA, I have the need for a trip, right? So I want to go on a trip. Reasons why I can go on a trip. Help me with that. So it's a dream.
Celebration.
Uh-huh.
Vacation, birthdays, honeymoon, anniversary.
Multi-gen.
Family time.
Vacation, I want family time, summer break,
Spring break.
winter break, spring break,
Retirees.
environment.
They want to spend their money.
Yes.
Burnt out.
Visiting family, a lot of people will decide where they're to take an actual vacation if they're visiting family somewhere really nice.
Right.
I've had a few, I would say work related, but it's like conferences.
I think so too, corporate. I'm doing like 75 people going to Cancun in 2 weeks. It has been like,
Wellness is also a hot topic right now.
What?
Wellness.
Wellness.
Like yoga retreats and things like that.
Wedding. Destination wedding.
Okay. So we have a pretty good list so let's start with that. Person wants to go on a trip for these various reasons, right? Then they decide, do I need a TA or do I book on my own?
I think actually between finding BA, what I'm finding, especially for non-friends, is they do research first and then go, oh my goodness, this is overwhelming, and decide to find a TA. I've had several people tell me that.
Perfect. Let's do that. So there is a research, and I think this is worth a red block.
Yeah, I've even got really loyal clients that tell me that they've done research before they call me to help me out.
Oh, good.
I don't know that I need that kind of help, but that's okay.
Right, thanks, but no thanks. Okay, so they want to go on a trip, then they do a little bit of research, and then they see if they actually need a TA or if they're going to book themselves. Is that it? Do we all agree?
Yeah.
Or kind of? Okay. So then if I decide to find a TA, now I will find you. And then I have all these ways for me to find you. Okay, then I'll contact you. Right?
Right.
Do we have anything in between? I think we're good. First contact. What type of contacts how can I reach you?
Email.
Facebook Messenger. Yeah, Facebook Messenger, text,
Phone, yeah.
Email.
Call.
Right.
Or my website.
Call.
I've been
Phone
directing
number.
all of my messages to email because I like my personal time and I find it hard to set hours. Like when people reach me, they usually, anytime they see my light green and they say, oh, Maria's online. It could be 11 p.m. when I'm like decompressing and getting ready for bed. And that's when they want to talk travel. So I start to just put like a copy paste, like, thanks for reaching out. I look forward to helping you, but can you email me, please?
Oh, good. Okay.
I believe in Facebook, you can turn that off so nobody can know when you're online.
True. You can
Yes,
like,
but if they see me comment on anything, I have those
Oh,
settings
okay.
off, but it's like they always find a way to see that I'm on.
they're like waiting for you to come up and like, no, no. I see you. Okay. Email, messenger, text, website, or call. Right? That's the way to contact us. Okay. Then what? Let's take my notes here. What else do we have? So I talk to you, then what happens?
So for me, after a contact, I will, again, depending on how, schedule a discovery / qualification.
Yes, correct. I don't know if there's a correct or not, but that's exactly what I had written. So discovery call, discovery meeting, whatever that means. It can be like a call, person, email, or whatever. Okay. Same thing. Email, messenger, text, website, call, person. Oh, we didn't put in person there. In person. Okay. Then we have. Okay. What do we do in a discovery meeting?
Qualify.
Qualify.
Get their personal details, names, dates of birth.
Actually, really on this, I would challenge a little bit. So I think qualify is great, but under that, I think there's like 5 to 10 pieces of information that make up that qualification, like personal details. I think that's probably part of the qualification. That's my challenge.
Budgets is my
I send
challenge.
a task for those, like after the conversation, because that's part of my, if they're not going to give me that, then they're not committed.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's do qualify. And then, because one of the things that we're going to do next week is to create content for these things here. So then I think we can kind of open the qualify and say, okay, what type of questions do we have to ask? What type of information do we need? How can we do that? Do we use tasks or like, and then we can go a little bit more in depth with that. I think it would be a good exercise to do that also. Okay, so we qualify. I'll switch this because it's kind of a different thing here. Qualify. Okay. Then we have the discovery meeting. We qualify. We kind of get all the information that we need. Then what happens?
So for me, I'll just tell you how I work, right? Once I have that qualification, before I end the conversation with them, I schedule a follow-up meeting. And usually it's to present what I find, but I immediately schedule it then. I find it builds commitment on their part. And 90% of the time, I will do it through Zoom or in person.
Okay. So that would be, okay, I get, so you schedule this on the discovery meeting, but something comes up between the discovery meeting and the follow-up meeting, right?
The work.
The work, which is kind of us doing like searching, like quoting.
But even before that, I think there needs to be a piece because they might not be the right fit for you, or you might not be the right fit for them.
So after the discovery meeting,
that's part of the discovery meeting, isn't it though?
So let's do this. I like that. So let's do an arrow because we might have someone going out here. Is that what you're saying? Like,
so before my discovery call, I send a welcome packet that pretty much says what it's like to work with me. And in that welcome packet is my, so if someone sends me an email or sends me a DM on Facebook and Instagram, I send them a welcome packet. It gives them a pretty good synopsis of what it's like to work with me. And in that is my link to my trip design form with a link to schedule the call.
Okay. So between the first contact, right? The first
Right.
contact, the discovery meeting.
Mhm.
So the person contacts you, then
Mhm.
before you schedule the meeting, you send something. So there's a
Right.
person saying there's like a point of contact.
It's pretty much like a welcome, welcome to working with me. This is what it's like. This is my process. Fill out this form to design a trip. On the last link on the trip design form is you click here to schedule your call, and then we jump on the call.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so yeah, that's exactly what, so, and that's the thing. So after we do the whole process, we kind of have to go in and start opening up and see like, okay, what do I do for first contact? What do I do for discovery meeting? What do I do for quoting? And then kind of like start to think about each one of these steps, because if we do have, if we can add value to the client in different ways, in different forms, in different moments of the experience with us, then we are building trust and we are creating a relationship where they can really like understand what we do, right? So I like that, but I think it's a little more in depth than I think that would be for the next meeting for us to kind of just come in here and say, okay, how do I make it that first contact better? How can I do something that makes me realize we are not a good fit right away before I spend the time with this person, right? So then we kind of like discussing those things and then sharing like whatever we're doing that works for us. And so we have like at the end, we have like a pretty good list of things that we can look at.
So I don't know. My board would not look this neat. I would have squiggly lines all over the place. The process I take, I don't know about you guys, but it depends on the person, what they need and what they're looking for. I have a lot of people that contact me and they're very, very busy. They do not want a phone call. They don't want to talk to me. They don't want to Zoom. They've heard about me from a friend. They know I can help them get from point A to their trip to finish smoothly. And they just say, here's what we want, XYZ. I email them a quote. They say, book it. I send them the tasks. I book it. So it just depends on the person. It depends on the level. It depends on what they're spending. Depends on how much hand holding they need. And obviously I send an introductory email to talk about what their needs are and what they want, because you guys were talking about BNI chapters and networking. I haven't joined one of those. I've gone as a guest, and I have a lot of people try to refer people to me, but a lot of what they try to refer people for, I don't do. A lot of it is domestic travel. I want to go to Las Vegas. I want to go to Florida for 4 days and stay on the beach. I make $20 on that, right? So, again, it's part of that finding out if we're a good fit or not too. And it worries me about going to the BNI chapters. People want to help. They want to support me, but they send a lot of things that I don't have time for.
Business. Yeah. No, and I agree. And I think you're right, spot on, Melissa. Like, this is not supposed to be something that you will be necessarily following up like step by step. It's just an idea of how the customer journey looks like. And exactly as you said, some people, we might do it step by step and spend a lot of time in each one of these steps. Some people, we might like go really fast and like just go into booking right away. Some people, we go all the way to the end and we don't book it. Or I do like my discovery meeting, it's by email. Like, that's how I work better. If the person wants a call with me, I'm gonna be there for them, but I'm not the best person for a call. Like, it's not my personal style to do a call. So I do it in an email. So what I did is what I sat down and say, okay, if I want to do this by email, what type of things can I send to my client for me to get the information that I need using the channel that I'm choosing to use? Most often I would choose the channel that my client chooses, but my clients for some reason also like email. So I'm having luck with that. But so we're gonna take this as a base for your own business and then see what makes sense. Okay, on here, my discovery meeting is a call. I want to know them personally. I want to look them in the eyes. Okay, perfect. My discovery meeting is an email where it said 3 questions, because I personally tried sending more. I think people just get super overwhelmed with a lot of questions. So then I said, okay, I'm going to send 3. And then I'll send 3 more if I need. So it's just like I kind of take from there. So just make it your own. This is for us to just understand how to create a customer journey, and for us to kind of think a little bit, okay, what else is in there? Like, what am I missing? Because sometimes we're focusing a lot on the quoting, and we're kind of forgetting about the rest, because all of all the rest is also the customer experience. We're spending a lot of time on quoting and the trip itself, but are we thinking that we are doing the best that we can on the first meeting, the first contact, or the discovery meeting, or the follow-up? Like, am I doing the best that I can do in there? And same as Melissa said, this will change from client to client, from budget to budget, right? $1,000 trip will be something quicker, whether a tour in Europe for 3 weeks with family of 6 will be a different thing. So it's alive, and we are supposed to keep changing this. Okay.
And my biggest struggle is right there in the middle, the finding me, and not everybody. I want my ideal clients to find me. And I've done all the social media, you name the platform, I'm on it. I've been on it for years. But a lot of times that social media is seen by very few people, let alone your target audience.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I have to justify doing all of these social media things, and I'm there for my people who follow and want news and announcements, but I can't spend how many hours a day do I dedicate to creating content for social media for 5 people to see it?
Right. Exactly. And that's why I like this as well, because it allows us to see the whole thing, right? And then recognize where's the best investment that I can do time-wise, and which process I can automate, like I can make it easier, or I can create a task for, or I can do use some tools that you guys someone is using and it's working great. So that's the whole idea, to just open it up and say, okay, let's talk about the need of a person to do a trip, and how can I use my social media to kind of touch on that? Okay, we have a pretty big list here. So now let's talk about the research that the person does. What type of thing I can create to assess that, like to really recognize that the person is doing that research without me. So what can I do? And then we start to use the social media posts as something a little bit more like directing to where we wanted to go, instead, and creating that expertise that we talked about in the previous meeting. Like, it's just a matter of doing stuff, even if it's quick, if it's just a share, if it's just a text, just doing it over time consistently. It doesn't need to be something that it takes a lot of time. So yesterday I was doing a quote for a client. It was super late at night, and he wanted a trip, of course, for December, like holidays, and there's nothing else more out there. It's all sold out and the flights are crazy. But then I quoted with American Airlines vacations, which I usually use from Charlotte. They are pretty big here. So I said, okay, I'm going to do with American Airlines vacations. But then I was like, well, I'm going to double check with Vacation Express. The price difference for the same thing. And I swear, I know it was late and I was almost sleepy, but I swear I checked everything. I triple checked everything. It was $2,700.
What?
I know. I was like, what the heck? Like, I see that happening from time to time, but it's very unusual. And I was like, okay, so Vacation Express had some sort of promotion that was not available on American Airlines vacation. And I was like, okay, this is really weird. I literally made a post out of it that time. Like, I just print screen the price of Vacation Express and the price of American Airlines vacation. I didn't share the suppliers. I didn't share anything. I just shared the total. And I said, this is what looks like working with a travel agent. That's it. So
what a great post though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And today, a lot of people was like, wow, yeah, you were amazing and blah, blah, blah. So it's just like, keep the conversation going and see that I'm not saying anything about myself. It's not me. It's the client. I'm saving them $2,700 because I decided to check something else. So it's just like, just think about things that happens on your day to day that you can just like do a quick post. And you don't have to do too many. It's just building the expertise and just people recognizing that you know travel. And if they need anything, they will come to you. And it just will just take a little bit of time. I've been a little bit, so yesterday also someone asked me, well, I'm looking for really good promotions. Where can I go on your website or your social media that I can check the deals that you post? And I said, I very rarely post deals. Like you can contact me and I'll let you know all the deals that I have, but I'm not gonna be posting them. If I post, it's to build my expertise. So it's very educational.
Then do you get a lot of interaction? Because 9 years is how long I've been on social media, and my posts get seen by maybe 20 and commented on by my mom.
Are you doing that on your personal or your business page?
Well, both, everything. I've got
my business page gets 0.
I've got groups, I've got business pages. I am part of other groups that allow me to solicit what I do, and I don't solicit, I just offer information.
Right. Okay.
Like you said, most of the time.
Okay, I'll have to, let's switch names then, and you can check my pages for you to see like the type of posts, and I'll check yours, and then we can like discuss that. Maybe we can get Bella from away to kind of be on the, like do something too, and kind of like direct us into something. So, oh, she's there. I just see her. So
anyway, it's not about me, it's about the whole group, but I'm just sharing some of it. You know, this is a lot of time dedicated to social media posts, which I do spend way too much time on anyway, for the ROI on it, for the number of people who see it. And I do it on business mostly. I share things I think are interesting on my personal page. I don't want my personal page to become all my business where people will stop.
Right. I do all this stuff. Yesterday, I did literally like my kids going crazy at the house. And then that post about the 2,700, it's all mixed. Like, I'm doing everything there because my business page doesn't get, like, Facebook is not showing the business page. And that's due to the algorithm that they changed. They're not showing it. So it's just a matter of like, I gave up on it. I'm like, it's me. And me is, I'm a mom of 2 boys. I'm traveling. I'm a travel agent. I love to cook, so I will be sharing recipes. Like I do it all on my personal page, and that's where I do get a lot more, like people engaging with the posts. And even if it's people that I know, like it's someone's like my son's friend's mom, they're still seeing it, and I do get referrals from those people, even if they never bought a trip with me before, because they're just seeing my posts.
The other thing too, Melissa, I wanted to say one thing about the Facebook groups that you said you're in too, because that's where I'd say, I don't know, more than half of my referrals come from Facebook groups. And I think I mentioned this with us before, that what I kind of did was partner with who I saw were the most engaged members within the group that also had something like, there's a realtor, there's a hairstylist, and we just off channel talk about how we're going to promote each other, because if you're tagged in the group, you see it, and it's just a louder voice when another recognizable face puts your name out there. And you know, we just do it, we just reciprocate that way. I mean, we're cheerleaders for each other, and I find that it just stays top of mind in the group too when active people are posting it all. So that's just one little way I've tried to stay, because if you spend so much time, I'm the same way with my business page. I get one person to like things.
Yeah. So okay,
I just wanted to chime in for a second because hi Marilia.
Hi Bella.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I do work with OA. I'm here in the office from 9 to 5 every single day. I do digital marketing and social media. So Melissa, I hear your problem constantly with agents where they struggle with, they've been in the industry for a long time. They are posting these things. They're not getting engagement. I totally agree with what was just said. Connect with your peers, go into the OA neighborhood, kind of do a little bit of stalking per se. Friend a couple people on Facebook and collaborate with each other. I also really recommend making posts, like personal posts, obviously not too personal, but just a little bit about yourself. Like Maria was saying, like her family running around, or just like random vacations that you've been on in the past like couple years that you would love to share on your business page. That'll also allow people to see you on a more personal level, and relate to you in that way too. And if you guys have any questions or anything, I'll drop my email in the chat. And I'll definitely be able to hop on the phone with you guys, or Zoom, or whatever you want.
I don't want to
brainstorm
steer
Thank
this.
you, Bella.
I don't want to steer this and make it about me, but I do. I go live in my groups. I go live on my business page from a personal level. Hi, everybody. This is who I am. This is what we're doing. I want to wish you happy holidays. You know, personal, in my office, in my house. You know, people don't want to just be sold to. So,
Hey, Melissa, do you make sure that you're in the pictures? Because that's something
yes,
we've started changing, and the likes are better. Still, like you, I'm not getting the comments and the feedback, but at least I found my engagements have started edging up a bit, because I make sure I'm in the picture now, and we weren't doing that for a while.
And Melissa, also just like, remember, like we have the whole list last week about different things. Play around with that a little bit. You might find out that maybe if you go into like more a funny thing, people will like, we'll have to find out what people will be more interested, or the tone or the channel that will work best for them. For me, it's me just being me, because I became a TA after I had all these people and friends on Facebook already. So I just like started to put the travel in there from time to time. So this is just something that is completely mixed with my personal thing. I stopped posting on my business page completely. I don't even spend time with that. So, and if I am spending time today, I'm looking into this, like what we are creating today, because for me, in order for me to spend the time, I need to make sure this is going somewhere I want it to go, and not just like anywhere, you know? So I come in here and say, okay, I could do this, I'll share this, but also I'm gonna do like maybe a blog post, or I'm gonna do reels about like but it's very, very educational for myself. And I feel like when people are feeling that they're being educated, it's more attractive than they're being sold. So something that I'm just selling trips is different from like, oh, I'm learning things I didn't know about that. Or, you know, like the engagement gets a little bit higher once you start to give them information to empower them to learn more about stuff, instead of you to just saying, book with me or things like that. I'm not seeing your post, so we can talk about that later, like once we go over that. But just like in general.
The thing that I've had best results with is I'm in a women's networking group. And then there's also an area women's Facebook group, networking group. And so anytime somebody from that Facebook group will mention travel agent, that somebody needs a travel agent, my ladies will all pipe in and recommend me. And even if I don't get the person that put the initial post up, people see my name, and I constantly get calls or contacts, DMs or whatever, that they saw my name come up repeatedly, you know, and then they reach out to me. So
I do that.
Perfect.
That is one of my big things. Like you said, I have a local group where I tag some people from local businesses, and they do the same for me. And then people will search travel agent or travel advisor, and they will find me even if they didn't ask a question, and they do come to me through that.
Okay, well, we're gonna get in there, and the next week we're gonna open this a little bit further, so then we can kind of just go into more in depth of things that we are doing that are helping me with this. And then we're going to share that, and hopefully there's something in there that it's helpful for you specifically. So I was just thinking here, we have the discovery meeting, and then we have the quoting, but we do have something in between, which is a research for us, not the client. Do you agree?
So Meryl, if I could take just a second, because we kind of jumped this. You were talking about you work on email, right? I don't. I work on the phone or face to face as much as possible.
Mhm.
And then kind of building on what Melissa was asking, I think this is great that we're playing this out. And I think each of us have skill sets and personalities that are going to play into this, that when you get that client, you do need to map out, okay, what are my steps when somebody contacts me? Because for me, it's very important for that rich communication. That's why I don't like email and texting. Even a current client who's booked with me in the past, I will still have that, what I call rich communication. I want a phone call or in person or a Zoom call, because I personally pick up so much they're not telling me orally through their actions or offhanded comments. So for me, my first contact is always going to be talking to someone versus the email. But that's me. I think each of us needs to go back and figure out, okay, what's the best way to work? I talked to an agent last week that never talks on the phone, never talks to anybody in one-on-one. They do everything through Messenger and email and can't imagine talking to people. So I think having this mapped out to what suits you, all of ours will probably look a little different, but know yourself, know your personality. So when you get that contact, and by the way, I've had at least 2 or 3 potential clients or leads that when that phone call, I knew they were not my client, and I got rid of them before I did any discovery, any research, because they weren't a fit, and it would have driven me nuts.
Exactly. And that's why I think it's really important to have this here, because after the first contact, we need to have processes in place for us to recognize that we should not be spending time with this client and vice versa, and them spending time with us, right? So it might be that when we get here on the first contact, depending on what it is, I can just send them like, I think you should look into this and book that directly. You can still help them out. I never say I won't work with you. I just say like, I think it will make more sense for you if you do this and that. And then we kind of like direct that person, which is great, because then the next time we're still building trust, right? When we do that, the trust is still there. Like, we're not doing the booking, but we're still building trust. This person will refer us and will come back with maybe a different trip where we might be a good fit for us. Maybe the person is not a good fit for us, but maybe the trip is not a good fit for us. And then the person can come back later with a better fitting trip. But what I was saying, so we need to get going with the whole thing. So discovery meeting, and then we said quoting, but I was thinking, I think we have a research there, which is our own research, right? It might be like checking suppliers. What else? Google, blogs.
Asking you all.
OA, neighborhood.
Reviews.
Reviews. Okay. So client comes in, I talk to him, he wants to go on a trip, I find out what he wants on that trip, then I do my research, then I quote. Okay. And then what? Then I present the quote, which might be, so quote presentation. Not really pretty, but.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How long do y'all spend on research? That's my downfall. I spend way too long.
It depends.
All depends on what they're looking for.
How comfortable I am with that destination, like how many times I've done it in the past. If it's my first time doing a destination, I'll spend a lot of time. If it's like Italy that I've done it like in my sleep, I'm going to spend very little time.
What's a lot of time?
The what?
What's a lot of time?
Let's say, so the other day I had someone wanting Ireland. I've never been, and I just did one trip to Ireland before. So I would spend, I don't know. I don't even know, because I kind of stagger. Like, I research a little bit today, and then when I go to sleep, I like get my phone and keep researching, and then I read some blogs, and then the next day I do something. I never stop to kind of calculate if I put everything together, but it would be at least at least half day, like 6 hours.
6 hours is mine. Like
what?
on new destination or something like that I'm not familiar with. It's usually about 6 hours.
Yes, for new destinations. And if it's something that I'm used to, then less for sure.
And it depends on how I'm preparing it, presenting it too. So if it's like, okay, new destination, but it's a lower budget trip and I'm just kind of presenting it through like a CRM itinerary, that's one thing. But if I expect it to have a comma in the commission, I'll put together a full PowerPoint, like with pictures and itinerary and everything like that.
And here's a thought that, so I'm doing this as vetting suppliers ahead of time so that when I get to that point, I mean, that's a generic for all my clients, right? But if I get to that point, I have 2 or 3 ideas of who I can call. That shortens my destination learning for a specific client.
Absolutely. I was going to say the same thing, because like if you know you can go and reach out to Pleasant for Hawaii, for instance, and you know that they're going to present a perfect product with great recommendations of hotels, you know, it can save that time. So I agree with you 100%, trying to find whether it's Go Away or Brendan or whatever those people you want to work with, they're destination experts and it can take a lot off your plate.
True.
Yeah, I end up in the place of like researching too many different suppliers. So like I might know that they'll do the best one probably, but then I feel compelled to check several others and
bam, I'm guilty as charged. I do that. I'm like, it's terrible. It has been 6 years and I'm like, I'm still doing that. But that's because things happen like yesterday, but I see like a 2,000 price difference on something. I'm like, what the heck? Like what? So I try to get better on that, but so I think what happens is that down the line, you're kind of just starting to trust the suppliers that you work with more often. And then once you do that, you stop to second guess yourself so much. But I have a discussion with that with an agent the other days, because I like to be in control of the quotes of the itinerary that I put together. So I have a little bit of a hard time when I send like to Go Away or like Go in your Italy, you know, like a GMC that they just send me the quote.
Here it is.
And I'm like, I don't know if that hotel is the best one. I don't know if that's the best rate. I don't know if there's like, I have a really hard time not being charged because I feel like I have to defend what I'm presenting to the client. And if I'm not in a position where I am defending what I'm presenting, I'm like, here it is. Like, I feel like my closing rate suffers a lot because of that, because now I'm not saying like, this is it, we're doing this, it's going to look great, and I got this hotel for you, and it's amazing. And so the way that I present the quote, it's a little bit less enthusiastic than it would be if I'm actually like in charge of every step of the itinerary. So
and the problem is you do have to check those things sometimes. I just got a Europe Express quote that when I went into it, they had doubled one of the hotels by mistake. You know, and there were a couple of little things. So it was like,
and sometimes they take a while, like 3, 4, 5 days. And well, after COVID, they were taking so long. I was like, I can't wait. Like I can't wait 10 days to present something to a client. It will make me look really bad. So I just started working with suppliers that allow me the flexibility to build my own itinerary and that I can research the hotels. I already have the destinations that I'm very used to do. I already have the hotel that I like to work with, whether it's like a comfort level or like a luxury level, I already have that. So it starts to get easier when you start to trust the supplier that you work with.
Yeah, but that's also kind of why it's easier to have a niche and be able to find your ideal client that is in your niche, because when you are working with something you are very, very familiar with, you can produce this, you listen to them, you have that meeting, you learn what they want, and then you say, these are the perfect options for your family, and you're confident in that. I don't do Europe. I've never been there. I would be doing my guests a huge disservice if I blindly, trusted some partner to put together a random itinerary and I didn't even understand what they were getting.
Right.
So
Yeah.
again, back to finding those people that we want,
Right.
because we can really help them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Maria, can I add something? I usually have that same issue with too much research and just analysis paralysis and wanting to have the perfect trip. But I pay attention in all the Facebook groups. And if I know that someone's an expert in Italy and they recommend a supplier, I have a spreadsheet and I have every destination that's mentioned and every hotel, and I go and add that. I mean, it doesn't have to be detailed, and nothing beats doing your own research, of course. But if I know that you book this day in and day out and I've never been, or I've never booked it before, and you recommend Pleasant Holidays or Go Away or what have you, that is, I make a note of that. So if I ever have someone asking for this quote, of course I'm going to do my own research, but at least I have a starting point.
Yeah.
So I will go to Pleasant Holidays for Hawaii, or go, big tours. I look for what other people have done and have tried and true. And that helps cut down on, at least where to start. Even if you do your own research, at least you have a starting point and you have other people that have already vetted some of these suppliers. So that's what I do.
No, it makes perfect sense for, and that's why I think it was worth for us to put like a research column in there, because there's a lot that goes into research from our point of view, not the client research, right? Our own research. So it's good to have to make sure that, okay, I can go to OA Facebook page and say, hey, does anyone have done this before? Right. And just as you said, Jennifer, just to get some people that have done that before, and we can trust that and kind of do a few shortcuts for the quote itself. Okay, so quote presentation, we can do it in person, call, email, Zoom, video. I know some people like to send the PDF or an email and then send a video attached explaining the quotes. Some people, I've seen some people do that as well. So that's in there. After quote presentation, I send the quote to the client. What happens?
So I put a comment earlier. So I like to do this again, on the phone, Zoom, whatever, because after the presentation, I always ask for a credit card. So I present 1, 2 things, which one's feeling the best for you? Okay, let's get that locked in.
Okay,
I
so after
ask
the
for
quote
the sale.
presentation, we
I
have
ask for the sale. Please, please, please give me money.
So after quote presentation, I think we have another point of exit in here, right? Because I present the quote, then maybe that quote won't work for the person. The budget is not right. I changed my mind. I ghosted you, whatever happens. Sometimes, after we present the quote, there might be a couple of things that may happen that will be an exit point for the client. Exit. Oh my God, there's 2 T's there. Okay, exit point. Okay, exit point. But then, so we go to the booking itself. I think that before the booking itself, even though if we're taking the conversation there is a point there before, which is adjusting the quote. Do you guys experience that as well? No, I do. Once I go in and I say, okay, this is the quote, and then the person's like, oh, I like it, but maybe I'll switch the dates, or maybe that resort works a little better for me, or now I want to add a night because the price was so good, or I want to take a night out because it was a little over my budget. Do you feel like that happened too?
I don't have that. Sorry.
You don't have that.
Very rarely.
No, I do if it's an FIT, absolutely.
An FIT, exactly, because then people are like, okay, but that flight from London to Rome, it's something, so maybe we kind of switch it up a little bit. So minor adjusts. And again, depends on the client and depends on the type of trip, right? If it's an all-inclusive, very minor adjustments, if any, probably not. If it's just like an FIT to Europe, we might have a little bit more of adjustments in there. Okay, and then booking itself. And then the client said, yes, go ahead, book. What happens after?
So a question for you guys on the booking. Most of the time before I go into the final quote, especially if it's a very hot product, I will hold it. How many of you hold things so that you guarantee that price for, if they allow it, 24, 48 hours?
Any cruise or tour, absolutely, because anything with dynamic pricing. I mean, you can't with the, I mean, you can, I guess, Delta vacations flights, but that's about the only one I know you can hold flights with like that. But cruises, absolutely, you can't really quote one without holding it. Yeah.
If I have a really good idea of what they want and they're not just shopping, yeah, I will.
Just hold, yeah, I do this.
I will hold things.
Okay, just a moment. Or you guys can continue to talk. Okay.
Yeah, because I think that's a part, maybe even before the presentation, where possible, that we're missing in our little map here, is hold.
On the quote presentation.
Prior, if it's something we can hold for 24, 48 hours, I will do that.
Okay.
If we really know what they want and they don't want 3 very different options, they have to choose. Then.
Right. That's, yes, agree. So if, again, depending on the client, depending on the type of trip, if it's an all-inclusive at a cruise or something that I'm presenting, that is the thing that they asked, and they're not like choosing between, or Alex, do you hold 2 or 3 options, or just the one that you know that they want?
Usually I try to hold the one that I think they're going to want, instead of mucking things up. Because there's usually one that kind of stands out based on what they told me. Now, I've had plenty of clients not go with that and go with the second option, but I usually try to hold the one that, based on qualifying, they said, yeah,
That you think it's going. Okay, perfect. Okay, so then we have the booking.
I was going to say just real quick, there's a difference in, do they want a snapshot in time quote or a real quote? You know, so that's kind of the difference there. And that depends on how much research time you spend on it also.
Does everyone have their, like if it's a new client, do you always have their information before you give quotes, or do people give quotes before you get their information?
I like to send a task so that they give me that, because like I said, otherwise I'm not going to spend much time with them if they don't. That to me is a minimum of commitment.
For me, it depends on what they're looking for. And I sell a lot of different things, but again, like Mary, I can do Disney with my eyes closed in my sleep. So if somebody tells me the basics of what they want, I can send them a detailed quote back in 15 minutes. So it depends on what they want.
Yeah. I don't have the full names and date of birth for every client that I quote. And that was kind of a discussion I had with Dan once, because Dan was like, and I said, well, I get that. I get it. And I get what Stephanie's saying too. Like, it's the first sign that they are serious about booking with us. But I also feel like I need to gain their trust a little bit before asking for personal information like that. So it depends. I may ask for people to, depending on what it is. I think it depends on the type of product that it is. I do both. I sometimes my process is not very like strict.
But see, it's interesting you say that. I use it to build trust, because I'll say, hey, how do you spell those names? I want to make sure that it's, it's accurate. And if I see the right thing, I want to hold it for you. So let me have your date of birth. I actually use that to build trust instead of waiting. And then they kind of committed to me a little bit.
Right.
But Alex, I think some of that's the power of being face to face or on the phone. I think it's because I'm kind of in the middle of you two guys with it. I'm all over the map with how I contact my clients. But I have kind of reverted to the phone as much as I can, because I think that's really the way rapport can develop. But it's just much different to give your daughter's middle name and date of birth over the phone or to a real person than in an email, if you you don't even know what the person looks like.
Right. Right.
And it helps if you
good stuff, people. I like it.
I think we're back to this though. There's really 2 kinds of quotes we do give. Like I said, there's that snapshot in time, real quick. They're just browsing. It depends. Are they good? And that's why I question when you're qualifying is, would you be depositing this week if I find you what you want, or are you just browsing? There's really 2 different kind of quotes we give.
So Stephanie, I'm going to channel Dan for a minute. If they don't want to buy now, I don't want to deal with them. Call me back when you're ready to buy.
And that may be your business, like you said. I think
Right.
that there's some more trust building, like Maria's saying, that a lot of people need. You know, they're not ready to marry you on the first date, a lot of people. So
Well,
there's
because
like
I'm
first date
usually
quotes,
not,
and then there's
yeah,
other
and I
quotes.
usually not ready to marry everyone that I meet. Like I still checking on it. So I use a lot of what I do for my business it has to do with how I act as a client for other businesses. So I think that's
Golden rule. And that's the thing. I do everything according to that. It's like, what would I want this person to do is what I do for those people. And
exactly. So
everybody's
that's
different.
how it is. So if some people just come out and ask for all my full names and date of birth and passport, I'm gonna be like, dude, no, like I'm not doing that right now. I'm not there yet, but
that's how I feel too, Marilia. And that's why I hate lead magnets and the funnel, like, oh, give them something for free if they give you your email address. Like every time I get one of those when I'm shopping online, like save 10%, give us your email, I X out of it. It's not, I don't want to give over so much of my information right off the bat. And I get a lot of just shoppers. I get a lot of people who are very inexperienced travelers, and that's why they need my help. So they don't have at their fingertips everybody's passport numbers, and it's confusing and overwhelming, and I'm trying to make it easier for them. So whatever works for you, but I don't ask for all of that. And if the price is going to change, I use that as a urgency, like, hey, this is the price today, but you have to understand that cruising is dynamic pricing. It could change at any time. So it depends on the client. I always do a phone call if possible. I do have clients I've booked and planned complete vacations for and have never spoken to at all, ever, because they chose that. But I always ask for the phone call. But it so depends. And that's why I think having this map, it makes you, I think the point of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Marilia, is to be thoughtful about it and deliberate about your process and what works for you. What works for one does not necessarily work for the other, but it's to be deliberate about it and think about it from the client perspective, how you are coming across to them.
Yes, you're correct. And even though this is going to be, this will look different for each one of us, it will look different for each client as well, right? Because we said like some clients will have like an email or quick, like I'm ready to book. And some people, I have people who like 2 months talking to them for a trip. Like,
yeah, I have a friend who's trying to talk her husband into this trip to Greece she wants to do, and it's just going to take some time. You know, he's not there yet, and she, you know, so I'm just helping support her. And
so the customer journey looks different for each businesses, but it also looks different for each client. Although the main pieces might be the same, right? Because we're kind of like doing embed. So the idea is for us to embed the message into the customer journey. And exactly as you said, Mary, to just think about how the customer is seeing all of that, and then recognizing where I can create magical moments, and I call it magic moments, to a little thing here and there to increase the trust, to build the relationship, and to make sure that I am differentiating myself from any other channel they have to book a trip. So I'm just like reinforcing my message throughout the whole experience, instead of just saying like, okay, my message is just on the attracting clients on my social media posts, or my message is just when I talking to them on the phone on the discovery meeting, like, or my message is just when they're traveling and I send them like a cute something for their travel document. So the idea is to look at it and see how many opportunities we have to wow those clients, right? Because like every single one of these things is at least one opportunity, if not more, to create something that will be perceived by the client as that magic moment, and say like, oh, this person is different. Like she's paying attention. She's creating value. She's building trust. I'm liking it more and more. And I'm just getting more and more involved with that.
Yeah, Marilia, one thing that I've never done, but it's stuck in my memory. I got to see, I don't know if you guys, any of you have seen Stuart Cohen present. He presents with travel leaders sometimes. And he was talking about at these exit points, he would reach out to his clients. Obviously not the, the clients you don't want, but let's say you've, you've had an engagement, you've had a rapport, and something goes pear-shaped where, they just can't pull the trigger, or maybe the price is not right at this time, but he would send a note afterward, thanking them for giving him the opportunity to at least present, so that they might in the future come back around. And I thought that was a really interesting angle. Of course, I've never done it, but
it is but I think it's perfect, and that's why I'm putting these exit points here, because I want us to recognize where the exit points are, because those are also possibilities for us to create magic moments. So it's exactly what you said. That's where I was going with it. So even the exit point is a possibility for us to send our message, to differentiate ourselves. We might have, so exit points, for example, send a quote presentation. The person said, well, this does not work for me. I changed my mind, and now I've decided to go to my grandma's house for the summer break instead of going to Italy. That happens. So that is an exit point right there. But there's also an exit point where the person just ghosts us, or like it just say like, well, I booked somewhere else. That kind of thing. So it's also the type of exit that the client has is also relevant to our business. If I am having a lot of exit points where it's because of a silent, because they are ghosting me, it's a symptom of something that I can try to prevent with something else before. So I will go over my customer journey and say like, hey, what am I doing wrong, or what am I missing on all the previous steps that are making the client ghost me? There's something going on. Okay, then it's a completely different thing for me to come in here and recognize that the exit point is actually because the person changed their mind. They are allowed to do that, but that's not a symptom of a bad process. It's just a symptom that it happens, right? So that's the kind of thing why I wanted to create the customer journey with all of you, because it really makes sense for us to start questioning those things and say, okay, I have an exit point here. What type of exit am I having? I may have a little bit of everything. That's okay. But if I have the majority of them into something that is clearly a symptom of a process that I could be doing better, then I should be. Okay, we're 20 minutes past. So let's just finish this up. We're going to get back to this. So I love all the collaboration. Keep thinking about it. Your minds are all in the right places. Like every comment so far has been super relevant to it. So we're going to do more of this in the next 2 meetings. We're going to work on this specifically. So exit point, and then booking. On the booking, I'll ask for deposit. And then what else? What do I have after booking?
Okay.
The thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so you're booking, and then I thank them for the booking.
Okay.
And I send like an email with their next steps, especially with Disney. There's a lot of things that we need to collaborate on once they're booked in the planning.
So we have the confirmation phase, which can be a thank you. Well, thank you. Step by step. Okay.
I give them next steps.
Next steps.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Okay. Tips.
Packing lists, stuff like that.
What did you say?
I just said packing list, but I don't know if like there's something after confirmation, like while we're like during the planning, the trip process.
The pre-trip, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. I think so too. I think that would be for that. So I booked, I go into there, I apply payment. So there's something here, which is apply payment and confirm with supplier. Then I have the confirmation that I will send to the client. I'll make sure this looks pretty after. And I'll switch colors like to whatever it's our thing and whatever is the client thing. But okay, apply payment and then thank you, next step tips, and then confirmation. I send the confirmation, then what happens? We wait for the trip or the trip to get closer.
Yeah. It depends on what type of trip, but
Yeah, and how long it's gonna be. Like, it could be like next
Right.
month and I'm already sending everything, or it could be next year where we're gonna have like 10 months of waiting for the trip itself.
right.
Okay, so then during that waiting period, then we have final payment.
Mhm.
Usually like a little closer to the travel date, so it means that we are getting there. Okay.
Possibly like passport check and stuff.
Yes, do you do that before final payment or after, or where?
Before. Probably in the
Well, you
waiting.
do both. Like,
I do it before when they're giving me their details. And if they don't have it, I check in with them a month or two after. to
Before
see the
booking,
process.
you feel like booking, during booking, the booking process?
Yeah, when they give me their traveler information, yes.
Okay, so passport. And I'll do this here as well. On final payment. Okay. Then we applied final payment, right? That might be 60 days, 45, 30, but it just means that the trip is coming by. Then what do we do? What do we have? Well, I feel like we have another confirmation, right?
Yeah. Like travel docs and
And then
confirmation that they are paid in full.
Depending on what their, again, it depends on their trip, but I do a email a month to 3 weeks out with just some more general preparations, things to start getting ready and thinking about. And then about 10 days or so, between 7 and 14, let's say, their travel documents and everything with,
So
they
you
have
do
all
that
the specific-
separately? You first do like the preparation?
I do.
And then you do travel docs?
Yeah, it would, and I repeat a lot of information in the travel docs too, but.
Why not, right? They never read any of them. So.
Correct.
That's true.
Travel docs. Okay. Preparation, whatever one I added in here, and then what? This is
Then they
looking
travel
good.
and I do the welcome home.
Okay, so preparation, then, you know what, I think, wait, this is not preparation, this is travel docs. Probably like do you guys confirm that like with hotels, transfers and things like that? Or
Depends
not?
on what it is, but depending on the destination, yes.
Okay, so tips, hotel transfers, confirmation. I usually on this point is when I go in their airline reservation and check like the seats are the same, and
Right.
nothing
Yes.
changed. By checking.
So I do that after they book, I do those things, and then I do it again.
Yes,
closer to travel.
I do the same. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Oh.
It'll all work out. It's fine.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. No, I'm gonna win this thing. I'm like,
Also set up anything that you're purchasing, like to have in their cabin, their hotel room, something like that. Any gifting type thing.
for preparation. Do you do that usually during preparation? Like it's so preparation for you and for the client as well, right? So just like checking on any gifts or.
Yeah, like setting up any gifts. I usually do that close to travel, just in case
Yeah.
something happens. They are not traveling. I don't want to pay for it.
True.
And then
Yes.
not use it.
Yes. Okay, so then travel docs and then what else?
The
Then we
day
have the
before
trip.
I send them a reminder to check in for your flight type thing the day before they travel and stuff, just a quick little blurb.
Like a bon voyage.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, well, let's do this here then. Safe travels. Well, Okay, and then we have the trip itself, the main guest, trip. And then we have what Mary said, welcome back.
Mhm.
Then they travel, then welcome back. And then what else?
Just ongoing, they're on my email list at that point, so.
Ask for a review.
Yeah.
I asked for a review for sure. That's part of the welcome back.
This is part of the welcome back.
I
So
asked
is the
for a
welcome
review as
back
part of
the-
the welcome, yeah.
Okay, I'll separate it because mine are separated, but I do welcome back first and then I do a follow-up with like reviews. What did you say? Did you say something that I forgot?
I don't think so.
Referrals, I send some.
Referrals, reviews, gifts, if you send something like as a welcome, well, I'll do this here. Okay, reviews, referrals, oh, next trips. Do you
Where
do
do
that?
you want to
You
go
ask-
next year?
Okay, and then this person usually goes to our regular database. After they come back from the trip. Okay, and then the idea is once that client is established, again, we may skip a lot of the first steps that we did it in there, right? So we might like, we're gonna still have the trip because there will be a need for the trip, but we might skip the research or finding a TA and finding me if we were successful in providing that client with enough reasons for them to come back and buy it from us again. So the idea here is to have this kind of a step-by-step from the client point of view. And now the fun part will be for us to open this and say, okay, what can I do when the client has, like, how can I positively impact the decision for them to work with me when they are in the trip on the first step, or then when they're researching, or when they're looking for a TA, and when they first contact me, and when we have our discovery meeting. So then we're gonna come back next meeting to say, okay, what do you guys ask on your first meeting? What type of questions do you ask? I ask for the budget, no one gives me one, and I don't know what to do. That type of discussion will be done next week when we kind of go through that and say, okay, if I ask for the budget and they don't have one or they don't know what to say, what type of other questions can I ask that give you an idea of what type of experience they're looking for during that trip? Right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
okay.
Budget is my biggest problem.
All of us. It's not only you. He's like, come on, people, tell me how much you have. But well, because I feel like that the budget for us, and that's where I feel like it's important for us to kind of put the client glasses on and think as a client, because for us, it's so much easier to know that number and filter the options by what the client can afford, right? Because
they-
we
I have a,
People don't know how much it costs. I used to, and sometimes I still do. I say, well, am I looking for a Corolla, a Corvette, or a Ferrari?
I like
So
that.
I've always liked car analogies to help people along.
Yes.
I have a form and they
yes.
can't skip it. So
They don't know. So for us, when we look
They
like a
put
Vacation
something.
Express, when we see a bunch of resorts in there, we see the price. It would be easier for okay, if you have 5,000, the best you can do for 5,000 is this. Like, it's easy, it's quick. I know what to send you. But a lot of people don't know how much things cost, and they don't even know how much they want to spend. And most often they are thinking about something, but then when we come back with like, you really want to like this, like, I feel like if you can stretch it a little bit, or like you can, this is going to be the best option for you. Most often they might agree with that, because people who are traveling in and are looking for a travel agent, we do have the budget travelers where like, I have 1,000 and I need to go by less than 1,000. We all have that, but we also have the people who are just like looking for a good experience, and they might be a little bit more flexible with budget. So if we're asking for them to give us like a number, they will say, it depends on what you present me. Like if it's something really great, I might want to spend a little bit more on it, right? So it's a question that I feel that it's very helpful for us, but it's very difficult for the client to respond.
Again, back to the golden rule, I think of me like I used to when I would go car shopping and you always get the, well, what are you looking to spend? I literally would say $5 because I'm not, I mean, if I can get a car for $5, you know, but it's a stupid question in my opinion. That's why I don't like the budget question, because I haven't even the slightest idea where you're, I mean, obviously now you do research, but you know what I'm saying? If you're just with that, it's kind of like, well, it depends on what you've got to offer me. Will I then know, then I'll know if that's too expensive or not.
Right, exactly. Perfect, people. I think we have it. Are we missing anything? Well, you guys can take a look at it later, go step by step, see if we miss anything. We can add it.
We do a lot of work.
We do a lot of work. We're working hard. I know I'm kind of like throwing a bunch of things out there. So like, we need to do this.
Well, form is stressing me out. I'm feeling like I have to get off this call.
Oh my God. This is why I always say our true value is from that booking to return home, because look at all that stuff that they don't have to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like if we can do a little thingy, like we were talking when we all started, that Pam said, well, can I use your, like how it is to work with me? And that I send it in my first contact. So every time that someone contacts me for the first time, I send them that. That's something that I created because I saw the need of it, thinking from the client point of view. And I said, okay, they're not really understanding how it is to work with a travel agent. And a lot of them has misconceptions about what it is to work with a travel agent. And I said, I want to take this out like right away. I don't want to go all the way to the end where I already spend the time into quoting and discovering what the people want and researching and all of that for the person that don't understand what I'm doing here. So I said, you guys are going to understand what I'm doing here first. Then I'm going to put the work in. And that's funny because it literally took me the urge to start charging a fee, for example, because I don't feel the need, like people know what I'm doing. And if we talked about that, like I'm building trust and I'm also trusting them that they will see the value in what I'm doing. And if they don't, they don't, like it's part of the business. We can have 100% of like, and none of the business out there have 100% of closing rates. Like it, unless you of course like charge a fee and hold people like, right. What is the term that they
hold them hostage.
Hold them hostage. Exactly. I'll hold them hostage. I don't want to hold them hostage. So like,
well, and those people are not going to come back either.
Exactly.
If they felt,
they might.
If they felt they had no option,
yeah, they might. But if they have a better option, they might not. Exactly. So it would be something to hold against you, but nothing against charging a fee. It's just like what works for you. But I felt like the need that I needed to educate the client before I put the work in, so they knew what to expect and what I brought to the table. So he would think twice before going like, no, I'm going to do this on my own, because he knows that I'm working with him, for him, respecting his time and his budget and his job. So I created that document or that image to send it right away. But it was thinking about this. I kind of created the customer journey in the paper, and I said, okay, where can I add things that will help me create that relationship, build that trust, and improve my closing rate? That's all it is. For me, it might be first contact and quoting and blah, blah, blah. And for Mary, it might be research and confirmation and final payment. And for Steph, like it will look different for all of us. Maybe some of them will have pretty like similar ones, but the idea is to look into this and see, okay, I'm not really taking care of that. For me, right now, I have an issue with waiting. Like from the moment that I do.
That's same for me. Yeah, that's
same
a
for you.
weird space.
I immediately look at that and say, like, I really need to get better at this. Like, I need to create something. And we have tasks. Like, we could create something in between that would send them something like, it's, I don't know, like 6 months mark to your travel. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. we need to create this together, but something like that, right? That would allow us to create something in between that keep us showing up to the client.
Yeah.
So that's really what it is. That's the exercise. So just looking there and say like, I'm not doing this, like I could be doing this a little bit better, or I could be sending a little bit different for them, or I could use something funny here, and mix and match with all that we have done so far. My message has to be clear. I need to stay consistent. I can use all different channels and I can use all different formats.
Yeah.
So just like mix and match. And I know it's a lot, it's overwhelming, but just like starting small, look at it and say like, oh, I can create a task for that. Task is created. Perfect. Next. Awesome, people. Something else? We're good? What was that? Ready for Thanksgiving?
No, I'm not.
You're not? Oh God, what happened?
I just have a lot to do. Haven't started cooking yet. Gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay. It's
Gonna be okay. It's all gonna get done.
It's gonna be okay. Okay, so next meeting, we are next Tuesday. We're gonna go in more in depth of all these steps, and we're gonna start creating content, sharing ideas, what works for you, what works for me, and mix, and we're gonna like kind of do a whole database of idea that we can do. I know we have been creating a huge list of ideas, and we're gonna take forever to implement them all, but we're getting there. Perfect, people. Have a great Thanksgiving.
You as well. I'm going to be on a cruise next week, so I'll try to pipe in if we have internet.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
I will be too. I'll be in Europe with a group.
Oh gosh, you're so fancy. Okay. The following week will be my turn. Finally, I've been here. Like you guys have been doing a lot of cool stuff and I'm just doing nothing, but well, 10 days and counting. Awesome. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.